This week we're going to carry forward with our reading of Homer. We introduced some basics of what the Homeric story is like last time and a close look at the opening lines of Book 1. This week we're going to look at huge pieces of Homer's poetry, books 1 through 8. To get ourselves started, I thought I would do a similar kind of thing, which I did with the very beginning of Book 1, and take a look at some of the lines at the end of Book 1. Remember what we did at the beginning of Book 1. There was a tremendous amount of grandeur in those lines. We talked about our hero, how he moves from one part of the world to the other. We talked about the gods. We talked about grand historical themes. As you carry forward in your reading of Book 1, these themes these expectations of grandeur are surely met. We go up to Olympus. We learn about what Zeus's life is like. We learn about how the world works a little bit. We get a take on the larger story. And we get major pieces of the story get put into place. But have a look with me for a second at how Book 1 closes. I'm just reprinting here the pieces of the Fagles translation that I recommended that you all read, strongly recommended that you all read for this class. Wonderful translation. Let's take a look at what Fagles makes of these closing lines of Book 1 of the Odyssey. Telemachus off to his bedroom, built in a fine courtyard, a commanding lofty room set well apart, retired too, his spirit swarming with misgivings. His devoted nurse attended him, bearing a glowing torch, Eurycleia, the daughter of Ops, Pisanor's son. Laertes had paid a price for the woman years ago, still in the bloom of youth. He traded 20 oxen, honored her on a par with his own loyal wife at home, but fearing the queen's anger, never shared her bed. She was his grandson's escort now and bore a torch. She was the one of all the maids who loved the prince the most. She'd nursed him as a baby. He spread the doors of his snug, well-made room, sat down on the bed, and pulled his shirt off. Tossed it into the old woman's conscientious hands, and after folding it neatly, patting it smooth, she hung it up on a peg beside his corded bed. Then padded from the bedroom, drawing the door shut with the silver hook, sliding the door bolt home with its rawhide strap. There, all night long, wrapped in a sheep's warm fleece, he weighed in his mind the course Athena charted. So the way this book works, we start off with grandeur, we move our way all the way up to the top of Olympus, we learn the grand themes that are going to be happening. But Homer, in his cinematic take on the world, shows us by the time he closes Book 1 that not only is he going to be master of the broad sweep of things and the big landscape, but he's also going to be master of a small, intimate detail. This is an epic that brings together grand, historic, large happenings with very small, personal, intimate interactions between people and thoughts in people's own minds. Here we've got a close-up scene where we're taking a look at Telemachus, this young man, and the tender relationship that exists between Telemachus and his nursemaid, the person that brought him up as a young infant through the earliest years of his life and has been with him all his life. More intimate than that is very hard to get. She takes off his shirt, hangs it on a hook. The bed is described with its smooth fleece and its warm kind of coziness. Telemachus is kind of tucked in there. And this huge sweep of epic events that starts off Book 1 closes in Book 1 with a tiny sound. It's the click of a door bolt as it goes to snap. So this huge event that is moving us from one side of the world to the other, Homer closes off with this very small grace note. I thought this was worth pointing out as a good entry into some of the specific ways that Homer is going to make this heroic world very immediate for us. Now, this man who we've been introduced to, this young man, via his some of his public discussions in Book 1 and via his close-in back and forth with Eurycleia here at the close, we're going to learn a little bit more about him in our coming lectures.